Yet again, the United States of America finds itself on the verge of another possible endless war. And there is a divide in MAGA-land. There is a divide amongst Democrats and Republicans, and a lot of people on the far right, politicians and influencers alike, do not want to be involved in dropping bombs on Iran, including this man right here. Jacob Chansley, the American shaman. I will not say the Q word, Jacob, today because you know why. There's companies out there that don't like that word, and we want this interview to be shared and to go out into the world. First of all, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Did you get taken down?
No, I have strategically withdrawn my presence.
Okay, why is that? So over the last couple of weeks when this started happening, you have been going hard on X. You have been calling out a lot of people that you previously supported.
Yes.
So first of all, talk us through that. Why the shift?
Because I was betrayed in every way that a man can be. And I did so with grace, with love, with poise. And they spit in my face. They kicked me in the nuts. They poked me in the eyes. They slapped my mama, killed my friend, and dared me to do something about it.
You've always been, I've known you, I've interviewed you several times. We have a friendship. You've always been, despite what's been portrayed in the media with all the J6 stuff, always been very level-headed. You're very intelligent. And then I started reading some of the stuff on Twitter. I'm like, I need to give my boy Jacob a little ringy-dingy because he's going off the deep end. Did you go off the deep end? Like, where did this come from? And you're usually not that controversial. You usually just speak about your shamanism and peace, and then you just went hard, buddy.
That's correct. It's because I and America were betrayed in every way that a nation and a man can be. And I was betrayed by the Trump administration. I was betrayed by what I like to call the Israel First administration, the Trump administration, also the Biden administration. What I came to find is that I have been conducting an investigation for well over a decade on the New World Order, on the globalists, on the satanic cabal, on the child trafficking rings. The list goes on. And my investigation has most recently concluded with each of my times that I have chosen to, shall we say, leave Twitter.
So let's just put it out there. Is it your belief that the American government is now under the thumb of Israel?
They have been since Kennedy's assassination and before. Keep this in mind. Israel is Rothschilds. Rothschilds is Israel. The Rothschilds own and control the central banking system in the United States that we call the Fed. Okay, so that means that the Rothschilds have been in control of our government since 1913. You see? That means that all these child sex trafficking rings, that means all of the blackmail, all of the corruption, you name it, everything goes back to that year when the Federal Reserve was installed. I mean, if you really want to go back to like the corporate America and like 1871 and all that stuff, we can go back that far as well. And that is important. But for right now, it's important to understand that the American government has been under the Rothschild thumb, which means the Israeli thumb, since 1913.
So to be clear, right now, as we speak, Donald Trump is debating, maybe he's made his decision, on whether or not to use this bunker buster, right? This amazing stealth plane. They drop, I think it's a 30,000 tons or 30,000 pound bomb that will essentially hit this mountain where Iran has nuclear, they're enriching uranium there.
At least that's what we're told.
If he is in fact debating that, it's your belief that the man that you supported on January 6th, Donald Trump, that he is actually corrupt?
Okay, first of all, I was not there to support Donald Trump. I was there to support free, fair, and honest elections. Okay? I was there to support the American people. Okay? I was there to ensure that the American way, the American spirit survived. Okay? Now, when it comes to this idea of the bunker buster, look, Donald Trump is not in charge of the United States constitutional republic. He's in charge of a corporate United States of America, which has no power, is entirely bankrupt, totally in debt, and is a part of the New World Order globalist system. It has no power here. He does not speak for America. I do. Okay, and regardless of whether or not people realize that's true or not, that is in fact the case. It has been the case for a while now. okay? And I have all the receipts to prove it. I don't care if people believe me or not. What matters is that the people are safe. Because it was never about me, Billy. It's always been about the American people. Everything I do it for you, the American people. And that includes standing up to an evil, international, satanic New World Order cabal that is trafficking our children and literally sacrificing them.
What do you mean? What do you mean you speak for America?
America is mine to protect, not to possess.
Yours, or you metaphorically being an American citizen? You as American shaman, or are you just being metaphorically you're a voter, you're a taxpayer, you're a citizen?
I am a sovereign. I am not a part of the corporate system, okay? I am outside of the corruption. And that's why I am able to speak for the American people. The people themselves, the we the people that Thomas Jefferson wrote about, you know what I'm saying, on the Declaration of Independence? Yeah. Okay, that's the people that I represent.
Okay, so you have people out there like Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon, strong supporters of President Trump since he came down the escalator. Do you believe that these people share your views, but they're not able to really go that far because they're so public in the media and there's a lot of different money and corporate interests there? Or do you believe that they're just basically anti-war and they're trying to influence the president? Does Steve Bannon, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, go as far as you do in saying that the Israeli government actually is controlling this administration?
If they did their homework and if they were behind the scenes like I was, advising the president for well over several years, then they would know that it's true. Like I said, dude, I have the receipts. I've been advising the president for years, since before 2020.
You talked to the president?
Yes.
You advised him?
Well, yes, except it wasn't. Except here's the thing. What you have to understand is that we're talking about what is called plausible deniability, okay? It's what intelligence agencies crave, all right? I can give you an example, though, of how it is that I can prove that I've been communicating with the Trump admin since 2020, okay? Are you familiar when Donald Trump was talking about the freedom cities, that he said there was going to be flying cars and the streets are going to be named after founding fathers and all that stuff, right? Well, he said that, I think, in 2022, okay, when he was campaigning. In 2020, I released a video called New Heaven on Earth, where I talked about creating new cities based on freedom and getting off of the globalist grid, based on Tesla tower technology, zero-point energy, and gyroscopic vehicles, flying vehicles, and TR-3Bs, flying vehicles. Oh, and I also had the schematics all laid out. I drew it all out in my video, and all of those streets were named after founding fathers. So what you have to understand is that what we're dealing with here is a puppet government. Okay, and this puppet government is occupied by the same people that are behind the scenes, but the puppets in front of the camera change. Does that make sense? So regardless of whether or not it was Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, whether it was Joe Biden or Donald Trump, whether it was Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, it was still Israel versus Israel. And the illusion that has been created over the last 8 years was that there was a difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, that there was a difference between Trump and Hillary, Trump and Biden, Trump and Harris.
Donald Trump pardoned you. So in a sense, he supported you. A lot of his people in the administration supported you in being the face of what happened on January 6th. I'm shocked by what I hear. It's shocking to me that you have turned course here. However, I do respect what you're saying because after all, Stars and Stripes, we live in America, we have freedom of speech. Was it just the talk of going into this war that changed your opinion, or were there other things in the beginning of this administration, other red flags that you saw and you said, uh-oh, this guy's a puppet?
Okay, so 2 weeks prior to Donald Trump taking office, I advised the president on how to handle the illegal immigration issue. What I said was, look, what you should do is realize that this is a psychological war. What do you have to say to these illegal immigrants that came over here during the Biden administration? What do you have to say to these people to get them to leave the country willingly? Like, what do you have to say to get them to understand that it is in their best interest to leave? Say something like, look, you got 2 weeks to leave the country. If you get out of the country now and you do so legally and the way you're supposed to, then the idea of coming back into the country will be more accessible to you. If we have to come and find you, you're going to be kicked out for good, blah, 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 blah. And then I said, and this will save us time. It'll save us energy. It'll save us resources. It'll also save our law enforcement from any sort of possible backlash. It'll also save the civilians that are in the area. This is a good idea. This is what we should do. You have 2 weeks, get out of the country, right? Instead of taking my advice, what they instead did was they came out on camera and said, if the hostages in Israel, in Gaza are not released in 2 weeks, all hell's going to break loose in the Middle East. That's it. And I was like flabbergasted. So they used this thing that I had as a plan for America to protect Israeli interests. And then when I started to notice that they were not arresting the Epstein client list, that the whole thing was a botched garbage PR move, that then Kash Patel comes out and says, what, they don't have anything? Look, dude, listen. Pam Bondi was in Florida, a lawyer in Florida. I think she was even the DA during the Epstein thing. So like, listen, dude, Bongino was Obama's Secret Service. Okay? So like, look, dude, if you want to talk reality, let's talk reality. Psychological warfare. There's 3 versions of reality. Number 1 is what is called the collective objective universe. That's the universe that exists for itself as it is, no perception distorting the image, okay? Then there's something called a personal subjective universe. That's where you interpret the collective objective universe through your personal subjective lens, and then you create a reality that's actually a fiction because it's not the whole picture, right? And then you have something that's called a collective subjective universe, which is where you get a bunch of personal subjective universes that gather together in an echo chamber, and they all agree on what the universe is, even though it's a distorted lens, okay? The whole of the government system, the whole of the media, Mockingbird media system, is about creating collective subjective universes and personal subjective universes that always fight each other. And they, at the highest level, like Q level security clearance, they have the big picture. They have the collective objective universe. They know everything that's actually going on. Okay? So I'm attempting to bring people into the collective objective universe. Okay? Everybody's literally living a lie right now.
One of the reasons Donald Trump was so popular was because there was this idea out there that he was outside of the deep state, that he was going to drain the swamp, that he wasn't a globalist, that he wasn't part of the, good old boys club, that he was an outsider and he's going to govern and speak for freedom, America first, and for the people. Mm-hmm. What we're seeing now is a bit of a shift. Right?
Well, he took a plane from Qatar. Why would he take it? Why would he make a plane from Qatar the new Air Force One? What, you think they don't have it bugged? Why? Do you see what I'm saying? Like what? And then what? Now he's allowing Israel to dictate our foreign policy?
Okay. So you use that word reality. So let's talk reality for 1 minute. Just reality, real quick. So let's just keep it simple. Do you believe that Iran is months or maybe a year away from developing a nuclear weapon? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Do you believe that there's people out there in good faith in our government that truly do believe that, including the president, as he said last night?
No, because what you have to understand is
that you don't believe any of it. You don't even believe that they're trying to develop a nuclear weapon.
When you understand that Israel is Iran and Iran is Israel, when you understand that Rothschilds is Iran and that Rothschilds is Israel, when you understand that the Rothschilds are behind all of the instability in the Middle East and around the world, then you will begin to understand how all of this is one big political theater. It's called war theater, and it's all designed to create something called loosh, which is tension and fear in the air that these dictators thrive on. They feed on it, and then they use that tension to change the lines on the map, dude.
Okay, so let's do it this way. Do you believe that, not the Iranian people, by the way, a lot of amazing Iranian people out there in this country and in Iran, do you believe the Iranian state, the government, is a terrorist organization and props up other terrorist organizations financially?
It is the puppet government, just like Israel is a puppet government.
So if we believe that the people in power in Iran are bad people and bad actors, let's just pretend for a moment they are developing a nuclear weapon. Can you see the threat that America and Israel feel? And do you see the need and the reasoning behind going after those nuclear sites?
Okay, listen to me. We installed the puppet government in Iran in the 70s, bruh. Okay? So how many of y'all have done your history homework? How many of y'all know about black ops? How many of y'all know about what was actually going on in the Middle East in the 70s? How many of y'all have seen the pictures of Afghanistan, Iran, and Iraq before these revolutions where there was these radical Islamic states that were installed, these governments installed? And who installed them? So if you think for 1 second that Mossad somehow lost control of its baby Hamas, or if you think for 1 second that America somehow lost control of its baby ISIS or Al-Qaeda, if you somehow think for 1 second that America or Israel lost control over Iran, you got your head up your ass. You don't know global geopolitics because you're not a part of that collective objective universe. You have not done enough research to actually know the full chessboard. And the thing is, bro, it's a Rubik's Cube chessboard. Okay, it's multiple dimensions all intersecting with each other at the same time.
Okay, so where is this going? So let's just say that this continues on. Israel keeps bombing, Iran keeps bombing, tit for tat. America gets involved. We drop the bunker buster, and then Iran maybe attacks one of our planes or our aircraft carriers. Where does it go? Where are we going?
What you're talking about, this is all hypothetical. Okay, what you have to understand is that everything that we're talking about is based on illusions, illusions of power. Okay? Illusions of structure, illusions of control. Once those illusions dissolve, which they will once the public understands the truth, because it is a psi war, okay? Once the truth gets out, the illusions will dissolve.
This is all a psyop.
Dude, it has all been a psyop. Trump's assassination attempt was a psyop, bruh. Okay, Biden and the election and all that was a psyop. January 6th was a psyop and a setup. The one thing they didn't count on, this guy right here. This is the one thing that they didn't fucking count on, bro.
What are you prepared to do personally as American Shaman to get this message out there?
Bro, I've already done everything I need to do. I don't need to lift a finger. My investigation is done. Okay? All I have to do is sit back and watch.
Is there anywhere where my audience can go today to look into some of these findings and some of the evidence that you've investigated?
Just go on my Twitter when I decide to reactivate it, if I decide to reactivate it. You know, you can also go to my that's one thing I have left up is my Rumble, Yellowstone Wolf AZ.
Why did you actually take, I mean, you were getting a lot of smoke on there. Were there death threats? I mean, why did you take it down?
Dude, I've gotten so many death threats, but no, that's not why I took it down. I took it down because it's strategy, bro. My silence is anything but empty. And the people on the other end in the government, the corrupt people that have done all this stuff to me, they are the ones I'm talking to. That and the American people. I'm talking in a way so that the American people can play catch up and they can get up to this collective objective universe that I have, decided to integrate my consciousness in. And at the same time, I'm also speaking to these people that are trying to do their bullshit in our country. I want you to understand something, okay? All that stuff that happened in LA, big black magic ritual, it was all a psyop. Israel, Mossad was behind that whole thing. The CIA was behind that whole thing. Okay, they were doing literally a black magic ritual in LA where they create order out of chaos. What they were doing was they were creating intentional chaos. They were the ones that put the bricks out and all that stuff. They created the chaos. And then they used Palantir to come in and scan everybody's face. And then they went and then they arrested criminals. Okay, but that doesn't mean that they don't have all this other data on everybody else that's in there, okay? So what you have to understand is they created the fire so that they could come in and put it out with Palantir. Do you understand? It's black magic, dude.
Before you walked in the studio today, there was Donald Trump was on camera, and here's the quote. "We are long beyond a ceasefire. We are looking for a total and complete victory." So what that tells me is he is prepared to take action. I understand you believe it's a psyop. However, if this goes down, what is the next step? They remove the Iranian government, somebody else gets inserted, and then we just keep psyoping and psyoping?
No, this is the next step.
What is the next step?
I'm going to tell you the next step. The real Jews that are in Israel are going to move the fuck to Australia or somewhere else, okay? And then the demons, the dibbuks, they know what I'm talking about, that have chosen to traffic children, rape children, kill children over the last several decades, last several centuries, they're going to stay in Israel. And the Israeli government, the Israeli state is going to fall. Okay? It is going to be dissolved because it is a colonial project. It is not Do you know that the Rothschilds actually bought the deed to the land that is now known as Israel?
I don't know that.
Yeah, in 1948, I believe the Rothschilds purchased the deed from the royal family of England, which they own and bankroll the royal family of England. So it was like one hand paying the other. Yeah, the royal family of England gave the deed to the land of Israel, was a small little chunk of land that they called Israel, to the Rothschilds. And then the Rothschilds created what we see now. Did you know that I believe it's their court building is actually a pyramid with the all-seeing eye above the sphere that they have encompassing it? Like, there's so much symbolism over there.
So Netanyahu is, all in your estimation, is also a puppet, basically, right? Him and Trump are in bed together, and this has all been planned out, and it's a psyop that they're pulling over on the world.
Listen to me. The real people in charge do not show their faces. Do you understand? You don't know their names. The fact that I'm talking about the Rothschilds is huge. Most people didn't know who they were for decades, centuries. And the only people that did were people that did not dare say their name aloud without speaking it in fear.
So who are the modern day alive Rothschilds?
Dude, there's many Rothschilds. What you have to understand is we're dealing with over 6,000, actually more like 50,000-year-old, but we'll just say for the sake of argument, since a flood, about a 6,000-year-old death cult. Okay? And it involves worshiping Saturn. It involves the Draco star system. There's all sorts of stuff that people just don't know. And as a shamanic practitioner, it is my job to know and protect the American people from these unseen dangers. Spiritual warfare, bro. You're talking about World War III. Let's talk about World War III because we're already in it. Okay, most people just don't realize it. There's something called full spectrum dominance, okay? It's a military term. It means control over the minds through psychological warfare of a nation. And then from there, you gain control of the terranean, subterranean, deep underground military bases, seas, air and the airspace, extraterrestrial space and satellites, technology, cell phone towers, computers, etc. The currency, the food, the chemical and biological agents, the list goes on and on. Now, this is called full spectrum dominance. When you have all of these things under control in a nation, you control the nation. Okay? What we are dealing with, say, the spy balloon, or with COVID, or with the baby formula shortage, or the pesticides in the food, or the chemtrails, or the psychotronic weaponry, or the 5G frequency, the list goes on and on, is we are being hit on all of these different areas, all of these different portions of the full spectrum dominant system, including the psyops. We're being hit with all of these things at once, and they're squeezing us to try to get us to either die or go to war. Okay, so what you have to understand is that we're in World War III right now, but all of us are being hit from all these angles and we just don't realize it. And we all think that the bad guys are what? Iran, because that's what the TV tells us. That's what social media tells us. But I'm telling you that if you understand the deep state, then you understand that everything that's on social media and everything that's in the Mockingbird media is controlled and is, in many cases, misinformation.
I'm going to say this with all due respect as a friend. And by the way, it's very interesting because you're saying things today that you haven't said previously. And it's interesting to me. And again, I respect your right to speak out. That's what we love about this show and what we love about this country. And I respect it because as someone that was pardoned by Donald Trump, as somebody that did previously support him, you've changed your views and now you're speaking out. I understand that. But you do realize and recognize that people watching this right now are going to say, holy fuck, the shaman's crazy.
Yeah.
You realize that.
0 fucks given. Look at my eyes. 0 fucks given. Okay? That's because it's about protecting you and your family. It's not about me. It's never been about me. Let me ask you something. Do crazy narcissists just disappear and stop doing interviews? Do they just stop going on Twitter? Do they,
No, they want more and more and more and
right.
more.
And didn't I disappear for like a year and a half?
You did.
While I was advising the president, by the way. Why do you think I did that? Maybe so I wasn't giving the strategies that I was giving the president to everybody on Twitter.
And just to be clear, because I'm going to get this question, when you say you were advising the president, it was through your channels, through your videos that you believe.
Let me show you. No, I'm going to show you, bro. I'm going to show you and your audience. So I was given a link because I kept sending Donald Trump $1.70 through his little WinRed, or
right.
Redwin.
This is during the campaign.
Yes, that is correct. So I was sending him $1.70 so I could send him my 2 cents on what I thought his strategy should be. Oh yeah, him going around and doing all those podcasts and staying on Fox News. Yeah. So you see this thing right here that says MAGA? See that right
I
there?
do.
Okay. So if I click that, they sent me this free thing where I could send Donald Trump a message, and it's like a survey, you know, how's he doing? Very favorable, unfavorable, blah, 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 blah. But then I get down here, and it's free. I don't have to send any money, and I can send unlimited characters in that little space, bro.
Correct.
Okay?
Your
Unlimited.
opinions as an American citizen.
Everything that he wanted to know, everything, every strategy he wanted to have, yeah, I sent it to him. And you know what? He took it all, and then he spit in my face. He kicked me in the nuts. He
pardoned you.
No, you don't understand, bro. He did that for political reasons. Dude, this is where it's like, you look, when you understand the collective objective universe versus the collective subjective universes that have been created for everybody, then you'll begin to understand what actually took place with January 6th, how and why it was a setup, what the intention was behind that setup, how it is that all of this was created by Israel to actually clean up the Epstein mess. Okay, all of this Q operation.
I will say something. We've had Kash Patel on the show a number of times, and he did pledge to release the Epstein files.
Oh, but now he's saying what?
That part is weird.
And now he's saying what?
I will say that part is a bit concerning to me, because the reason we wanted these types of people in, the Tulsis, the Pam Bondis, the Kash Patels, is because we thought they were just going to pull the pants down and we could see what's really going on. And we haven't seen that. That I will say. Even the JFK files.
Real punishers bring the pain, Billy. Go to my Twitter. I'm going to activate it when I leave here. Go to my Twitter. I'll leave it up. Scroll through it for days, dude. You would not believe. Go to my highlights. That's where a lot of good stuff is. Here's the thing, dude. These people talk. They don't walk, okay? Real punishers bring the pain. If these people wanted to arrest the Epstein clients, you know what they would do? They'd arrest those clients. If they wanted to release the files, they would. If they wanted to release the 9/11 files, if they wanted to release zero-point energy and Tesla Tower technology, if they wanted to release the cures for cancer, you know what? You remember that kid that kid they're parading around and taking pictures with because he has cancer?
The little kid that he was part of the Secret Service now.
Yeah.
Sheriff. Whatever.
Okay, when they first started that stuff with that kid, I sent them a message through this. And believe me, they all know that I was advising them. You have no idea how much power I had there, okay? I said, hey, you guys need to get that kid over to RFK Jr. and get a frequency cure. Get him some cures. And this might actually be our chance to release some of these cures to the public. No. Dude, and this kid's got 3 new tumors now.
I know, he's very sick. He just had surgery and
they haven't,
it's not good. Yeah.
Dude, look at me. They have not given him the cures for cancer. We have them, Billy. RFK Jr. knows this. Why do you think he's waiting 2 years to get rid of? Well, all he had to do was tell these food companies, you need to switch all of your ingredients to what you give the Canadians.
The dyes,
yes.
Get rid of all that.
But no, he's giving them 2 years. Why would he give them 2 years? Whose side is he on? And why is it that we had to scream until we were blue in the face to get the COVID-19 vaccine off of the recommended CDC for children? Okay, why, bro? Look, judge a tree by its fruits, Billy.
Elected officials throughout history in America, they're in office, we have term limits, they're out of office. If they know all of this stuff, wouldn't at least one of them come out with a book or come out with an interview and say, hey, you know what? I might get killed for this, but I am going to actually show you behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Wouldn't one of them come out and say
and
that?
they have.
Why
bro.
are you saying it and not a former president?
No, I'm going to give you Confessions of Illuminati, Leo Zagami, John DeCamp, his book, the Franklin cover-up about the Nebraska and Satanism in Nebraska. You've also got the testimony of Ronald Bernard, the Dutch international banker that was a part of these satanic, banking cartels and was asked to sacrifice a child. You've also got the testimony of people like Paul Bonacci. See, the thing is that the media is owned by Israel, and Israel is behind the child sex trafficking rings. That's what we know because of Epstein, okay? And Rothschilds are behind Israel. So what you have to understand is that if the government is owned and controlled by the Rothschilds / Israel, and they're the ones running the child sex trafficking rings, and then you have good people within the system that come forward and try to tell everybody the media is not going to cover it, and these people are going to be targeted and killed. Gary Webb is another great example of somebody that was targeted and killed. Who's another one? Look at Julian Assange. That's what happens. But you know what happens to people like Edward Snowden that do the bidding of the system? They get a free cakewalk over to Russia. That's what fucking happens. They get a Hollywood movie. That's what happens to people like Edward Snowden who do the bidding of the system. You guys have no idea how badly Edward Snowden fucked up. Man literally gave keys to demons, bro. You have no idea how much that man fucked up.
You're a public-facing figure. You're recognizable. You've been in international media. I don't have to retell your story here today. You're really going hard. You're going hard.
Because when you know the things that I know, Billy, there's no more pretending. When you know the things that I know, there's no more pretending.
What is Jacob Chansley as a man doing right now in his life?
Saving the world, bro.
But are you staying home? Are you staying home, doing your research, doing some interviews? Are you being safe? I mean,
I'm everywhere and I'm nowhere. I'm somewhere. And
where are you?
This
is a new
dude.
Where are you mentally right now? Mentally, like, do you feel healthy right now? Do you feel like you're?
Dude, here's the thing.
And I'm saying that as a friend because this is new stuff for me.
I'm a mystery wrapped in an enigma, bro. And that's the way I like it, because that keeps my enemies guessing and it keeps the American people safe. Because here's the thing, bro. The only way that I'm going to be able to keep the American people safe from these child sex trafficking rings and these satanic elites is by doing what I'm doing now. Calling it out in public, looking like I'm fucking crazy, but you watch the results. Air this shit and watch the results. See what happens. See what happens.
So Trump overall, is he a bad guy? I mean, is he satanic? Is he the devil?
Bro, I
thought you were pro-Trump.
Listen, dude.
Or did he get corrupted when he got in there?
Bro, he's been corrupt. So is Elon Musk. Everybody in that administration is compromised in one way or another, okay? And I'm talking like major figures.
So they have something on Trump. Israel's holding something, some black ops on Trump, whether it's Epstein or whatever it might be, and then that's forcing his hand to do their bidding.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, bro. And this is the thing that a lot of people just aren't even talking about, that I'm just like, are we all going to talk about the elephant in the room here? There's times where Trump is like skinny. There's times where he's young. There's times where he's tall. There's times where he's fat. There's times where he's short. There's times where he's old. There's times where he's young. So what the fuck is going on? Because it was the same shit with Biden. So, like, here's the thing, and this is what you have to understand about demoralization, okay? And this is what you have to understand about what this black magic stuff that the Israeli Mossad is doing, what all of this is about, okay? Is that, for example, they did all this stuff, Mossad did all this stuff in LA, and they put our 700 troops in harm's way, right, to stop all this, the stuff that they started, and then they had them totally under-equipped, right? But they're forcing them to go out there and put themselves in harm's way in a conflict that Mossad started on American soil. All the while, we are sending ammunition, we're sending supplies, we're sending money, we're sending all sorts of stuff to Israel. We're putting our people in harm's way for their cause. This is demoralization. Another example of demoralization would be Donald Trump doing anything and everything that he is told, okay? Or, in this case, making it so obvious that clearly Donald Trump is not in charge, or whoever we're seeing on TV is not Donald Trump. And if everybody just kind of goes, well, I guess Trump's in charge, the FBI is on our side now, you know, then they believe that we are stupid and we deserve to be enslaved.
So for those people in my audience that are not aware of what you're talking about, there's been like videos and pictures of, for example, Joe Biden, and he has like an earlobe that's connected. You know, some people have earlobes that are kind of connected.
Dude, his chin is hanging off of his face.
Sometimes people have earlobes that are disconnected, and there's different videos and pictures of him where it looks different. So one of the conspiracies out there is that maybe there was no Joe Biden, or it's like masks. You're saying Trump is... Well,
Trump just said...
Trump is fat.
Said, hold on, let's not skip over this. Trump said that the real Biden was executed in 2020 and this one's a clone. So y'all think I'm crazy. Hold on a second. Y'all think I'm crazy. What about your boy? What about your boy?
Do you think Trump's a clone?
What about your boy?
Do you think Trump's a clone?
Answer the question. What about your boy? If that's not crazy, then I'm not crazy. Okay, now hold on a second.
I think that's crazy too.
No, hold on a second.
I think that's crazy.
And Donald Trump recently, right before I did my space where I told everybody in the world that Donald Trump fucked a corpse, right before I did that space, he released a photo of himself, and it says he's on a mission from God, right? Nothing can stop him or some shit like that. But in the back is Pepe, okay? Right before I did that space. You have to learn how these people communicate, okay? When I found out that Donald Trump fucked a corpse, they threatened my fucking life, dude, more than once. And they threatened my family. And then they killed my fucking friend, a gay man, by the way, who'd never hurt a fly. And the reason why they targeted him? Because he was gay. And because I was defending the homosexuals in this fucking country from these evil people in the government that think that all homosexuals are fucking demons. Okay? So like, we're talking radical Christians. We're talking like crazy motherfuckers, secret society motherfuckers that are literally trying to force World War III so they can create the apocalypse and bring God back. Okay? That's what we're dealing with. That's the crazies over there.
I can't gloss over this though. Do you believe right now, you said Trump is fat, Trump is short, Trump is tall, Trump is skinny. Do you believe that it's somehow an actor or some sort of a clone? Is that what you're saying? Like, let's be really clear.
Listen, dude.
Because that would be wild if that's what you're saying.
What I'm trying to tell you is that the real people controlling things behind the scenes have not changed. It has been the Rothschilds for a while until I got involved. Okay? And what you don't understand about that is that we're dealing with spiritual warfare. We're dealing with satanic elite bloodlines. Okay? And they believe in black magic. They practice black magic, okay? I practice white magic, life magic, shamanic magic, okay? So I am like the antithesis of everything it is that they've done, all right? What you have to understand here is that, I mean, if we really want to get into it, we're going to get into it. This whole thing in the Bible about the blood of the innocent filling the chalice of the wrath of God is very real, okay? It is a part of the physics of reality, is a part of the cycles of the ages, okay? There's a reason why God says, I am the beginning and the end, the Alpha and Omega, and it's because at the beginning and the end of every age, God incarnates on the planet, okay? And brings balance to, or brings wrath to, all of these satanic bloodlines that have been sacrificing the blood of the innocent for 2,160 years. They do this stuff for 2,160 years, and they fill the chalice with the blood of the innocent. And then the chalice fills, and then it runneth over, and it dumps, and the wrath of God spills out because God incarnates and comes back with a vengeance. Okay? And this is just part of the physics. And when you understand that we just transitioned from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, we also just transitioned out of a great year cycle, and we're also transitioning out of the Kali Yuga, then you will understand how and why it is that I'm here, how and why it is that they're afraid of me, how and why it is that everything is unfolding the way that I said it would, okay? And why it is that I'm being as crazy as I am, because this public display is the only way to protect the American people and the world from a very real, evil, satanic, interdimensional force.
When you say crazy like this, you understand media. I know you do. And you understand you're a showman at some level. You understand that you have to be a showman, in other words, to get the eyeballs. So you're saying you have your beliefs, but the way you say it, you're doing that because you want the American people to wake up.
I want to protect the American people from a force that they don't even
realize. So what can the American people do right now? The people that are watching this, the people that are listening, what would you direct them to do at this moment?
Talk about Tesla Tower technology, talk about zero-point energy and Salvador Payas's patents, talk about the med beds and the cures for cancer that are being suppressed by the government, talk about a gold-backed currency and the gold-backs that Utah and Wyoming have started. Okay, talk solutions. Talk about the TR3Bs and, gyroscopic vehicles. Talk about the future. Okay, that's what I would recommend to people, is to make this system obsolete. Stop giving into the fear. Stop giving into the hate. Stop giving into the divisive politics, the divisive content. Start talking about the things that we can agree on. Like free, infinite, clean, wireless energy, like flying cars, like, cures for cancer. Everybody can agree that we need to release the cures for cancer. And believe me, we have them. We have them. They're just being suppressed because Big Pharma is owned by guess who? Rothschilds and Rockefellers. Okay? So if you really want to talk about doing your homework, then people need to read The Authoritarians by Jonathan Emward. People also need to read Covert Wars and Breakaway Civilizations by Joseph P. Farrell. People also need to read things like The Magicians of the Gods by Graham Hancock. People need to do their homework, and then they will begin to understand a little more deeply what's actually going on in the world.
Oh, bro. You brought it today, man. You do. You brought it. I wish you the best. You're speaking out against powerful people, the most powerful people in our country. You're speaking out against our government, but also in the world, Israel, right? The powers that be in Israel. I want you to stay safe.
Here's the thing. They are no longer the most powerful people in the world, Billy. My heartbeat, my consciousness is built into the fabric of reality. Okay? They can't do that. Okay? I can create storms across the fucking world if I want to. I can create an earthquake in Israel right now if I want to. Okay? I can.
You're not going to do that though, right?
Oh, well, I am soon. Yes, because I warned them over 30 days ago that all real Jews need to go to Australia and the demons have to stay because they're going to be swallowed by the earth like Solomon did with the demons in the lamp. Okay? We are talking about them, Azrael, the angel of death, okay? Azrael, the angel of death being bound and confined to the pit for 1,000 years. This is the apocalypse. And yeah, I'm the reincarnated Christ. And guess what? I'm here to judge these motherfuckers that sacrificed children, that ate their flesh, that drank their blood, okay, that did all this for fame, fortune, and pleasure. That's why I'm here. Oh yeah, and to create heaven on earth. So if you guys are down to do that, if you guys are ready for that, then let's fucking go.
And you're not here, just to be clear, you're not here to promote anything. You're not here to sell anything today.
No. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Let me ask you, who are people trusting? Where are you getting your information? And are they asking you for money?
Well, that's true. There's a lot of truth there. That I will agree with.
Israel asks for a lot of our money.
I just totally different than what I thought I was going to get today. Because, people can be keyboard warriors and go on X and start sprouting out, saying crazy shit. And then when they're in the flesh, they kind of tone it down. I know you as a person that has his core beliefs, and I know you as not a liar at all. I've never heard you lie in any of your interviews, in any of our personal interactions. And I believe that you truly do believe this stuff. I don't agree with all of it.
Not yet.
But it's a bit scary, and I want to let you know that I want you to be safe. That's all I'm going to say. I want you to be safe because you do not hold back, and you are speaking out against powerful people. So please, just be safe. Be safe.
God is guiding my every step. I'm fine. The people that really need to worry are the ones that sacrifice kids. The people that really need to worry are the ones that traffic children.
Are there any good politicians? Are there any? Is there?
There's a couple. Yeah,
who?
There's a couple.
Name them.
I really like Paul Gosar.
Paul Gosar. Okay.
I met him personally. He's a good dude as far as I can tell. The guy literally sleeps on a cot inside of his office so that he doesn't charge the American people money to buy or rent a flat.
We're going to have elections in 26 and then again in 28. So it's like a guy like you, can you even support anybody anymore? You know what I mean?
I will only support people that speak truth, bro.
You have the felonies off your record, correct?
I don't know. I think so.
With your
I got a message from a friend of mine that did a search that said that I still had them on. I don't know if the Trump administration got bitter and put them in and revoked the pardon. I don't know. I really don't care. It really doesn't matter.
Are you going to run for president?
I don't think it matters at this point. I think all that matters is that what happens with Israel and we get some Nuremberg trials. That's what matters right now.
Are you going to run for president?
Let's talk Nurembergs first.
I think that's where this is going. Jacob Chansley, the American Shaman. We're not going to use the Q word. I pray for this country. I pray for the world. I do not want to wake up tomorrow morning and all of a sudden we're in another war and it's World War III.
That's not going to happen. It's all a psyop. Don't be afraid. God said, have I given you a spirit of fear or faith? Fear or love, right? I've given you a spirit of love and faith, not fear. So
But those people in Israel, those citizens in Iran, they are experiencing fear.
Look up
they
war
have
theater.
bombs. They have bombs raining down on their apartments.
War theater. Look up war theater, and also look up what's that guy's name? The dude that wrote War is a Racket. He was the general. I can't believe Smedley or Smedley Butler. Is that his name?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I think that's somebody else actually. But anyway, point is, look up War is a Racket. Understand that there's something called war theater. That is how it is that people are controlled. It's black magic, dude. It's illusions, bro. All that matters is that you get inside of this. Once you get inside of people's heads, bro, everything else is cake.
American Shaman Jacob Chansley bringing absolute fire today. I cannot wait to see the reactions from that video. By the way, Jacob, you have nothing else as far as
no websites, no merchandise.
Now, is it at American Shaman on X?
Yeah, America Shaman. That's America Shaman on X.
America Shaman on X, and you just said after this interview you're gonna reload the X so people can listen to you.
Yes.
Woo! I gotta watch this over again about 50,000 times, Robin. I don't even know what the hell was just said, but we're here, freedom of speech. We're gonna continue to fight for freedom of speech. My name is Billy Harfosh, Star Worldwide Networks, beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. We'll be back with more explosive interviews. You brought it, bro.
Dude, I don't fuck around.